Left-Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Welcome to the Left-Wing King podcast. Today we're discussing the Israel-Gaza protests on college campuses, the Tennessee bill allowing guns in schools, and the Arizona 2020 election indictments. I'm your head moderator in charge of HMIC, Malik, and I'm joined today by my queen, Walanda.
What up?
And King Ace.
Hey, let's
get
go.
it. Let's get it cracking.
Let's do this.
The Israel-Gaza protests on college campuses across the country has been making headlines and stirring debates everywhere. What started at Columbia University in New York has spread as far south as the University of Texas and as far west as the University of Southern California. So, Walanda, what were these how were these protests organized, and what are they asking for?
All right. Well, the protests on many campuses are actually orchestrated by student groups, so pretty much independent on their own. Like you said, the epicenter is through Columbia University is where it started. So students are calling for universities to separate themselves from Israel. And so any type of entity that they are advancing Israel's military efforts, they want all that to stop in Gaza. So pretty much just independent and against what is happening to our Palestinian kids and innocent people over there. So that's what's happening.
Mean, they're protesting the Hamas Israel war that they're having, overseas, and making some ruckus. All these college campuses. But man, it's taking us before our time. It looked like something out the 60s, man. You know what I'm saying? Vietnam War era protest. And then on the other side, you have a response from the universities and government, where you got law officials coming out in riot gear. It looks like something off of a movie, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's nuts. And even though where I want to know and understand is how this is going to fall and what's the ramifications going to be when it comes to like the election and the politics of it. Because my hope is that the kids who are going to vote, they don't let this one issue influence their vote when it comes to it. It's too important. And I think that they may, sometimes younger, you get passionate about a cause and you let that gravitate a vote for you politically, but the politics is way more complicated than that. So
and we are going to jump into that a little bit later, because I got a question for you on that topic, just to give you a chance to kind of jump further into it. But to your point, this looks like what is it, 60s, 70s,
Vietnam War
all over again. It's like insane that this is happening. And to both of your points about like the reason why this is happening, it's against the war, but it's against it's a humanitarian protest. It ain't just like, hey, we don't want this war. It's like, hey, y'all doing some indiscriminate bullshit out there.
Yeah.
Like y'all out there just not giving a hot fuck about who you bombing, who you blowing up. And we understand Hamas is entrenched, right?
Yeah.
Within the community. But there's other ways of going about doing it than just indiscriminately bombing a building who got all kind of people in it.
Yeah. You're watching kids die, and you're watching kids starve, and you're politically not allowing food to get in there, using that as a weapon. So it's just horrible. So the protests are coming with good reason, but you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a tragedy. And, like I said, I don't think these kids, definitely have a point of what they're trying to get across. So, it's just like you said, it's just nuts that you wake up one day, you turn on the TV and you think you in 1968.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and people understand Columbia is the epicenter, but most of these schools or universities, they're Ivy League schools. So these are not just, not saying that every university doesn't deserve its own accolades, but you're looking at Columbia, your Harvards, your Yales, your Princeton. So we do got to question, as far as the impact that it is having on these young minds, like you said, that will soon be actually voting
and leading.
Like exactly.
You're talking about, these are schools that
they lead by,
that create leaders within our community.
Yeah, senators and presidents come from Ivy League schools most of the time.
Exactly. So, and most of it has been peaceful. There's been some, and we'll get into it, some dissent, but for the most part, it's like they are hurrahing for, you know, the ones who don't have a voice. They're trying to speak for those who are being killed indiscriminately, and unfortunately are a cause of what is happening. You know what I mean? Like, they're not involved. They're not Hamas. We're talking about women and children and men who are not involved with Hamas, that just happen to be Palestinians that live in Gaza.
Right. And let's make sure that we're not just saying, hey, we don't want to seem like we're on one side of the fence or the other, because there's bad things happening on both sides. Hamas did some fucked up shit, and they not saying that they don't deserve to be eradicated or removed from power, but you don't remove them from power by killing everybody over there. And being the case that we are we do have feelings for both sides, like Jewish kids. Like, there's some Jewish kids out there in these communities and at these schools that, you know, are saying that they're not feeling safe. So how are the Jewish students in the Jewish community being impacted by the protests?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're being deeply affected because, you know, not ironically, I guess you could say, a lot of people a lot of the organizations, or some of the organizations that are on like Columbia and these campuses, are Jewish-led organizations, student organizations that are protesting what's happening with Palestine and don't agree what's going on with Israel, you know. But then to turn around and, and unfortunately, when you had these protests, just like the Black Lives Matter protest, you have a dark element that tries to sneak in and push their agenda. And unfortunately, there's some people that are now utilizing these protests and getting behind it. And instead of being, like you said, a humanitarian effort, they're turning it into a political effort. And they're pointing hatred toward Jews. And that's not right. You know what I'm saying? To do anything like that. We agree, and like I think you said, we're not talking from it, you know, from like we're saying, you know, we're taking a strong point, what's right and what's wrong. You know, I firmly agree that Israel had the right to retaliate when they got attacked on October the 7th. You know what I'm saying? That was an act of war against Hamas, or what they did. I mean, let's not forget. And I know a lot of times when you look at the Palestinian side, yeah, it's horrible things is going on that end, but let's not forget that, you know, Hamas walked over to a musical festival and just murdered people, walked into neighborhoods and murdered people and kidnapped people and took them, and still have those hostages to this day. You know what I'm saying? And that was unwarranted. Like, nothing happened for them to do that. They just woke up one day and did that. And remember that the Iran backed. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of ramifications. And there's a reason why Israel's doing what they're doing. Don't get me wrong. Now, it's a lot of overkill on the Israel side. You know what I'm saying? So now, and that's where the protests are coming in. But now you have these other organizations and these other people coming in and making it ugly and making it political. And that's where the problem comes in. So
I actually looked up some students because I was trying to see like what exactly is happening to these Jewish students on their campuses, and most of them did say it was veered in anti-Semitism, like some of the chants and the rants. And again, it's not all the protesters, but you do have those Jewish students that have been subjected to that. There was one young man, and I apologize if I say his name wrong. I want to say his name's Roland Weiss. He's a 27-year-old senior at Columbia. And he said, like, they're scared to leave their dorm rooms. Like, they don't go out. That is a big concern. They're being held hostage on their campuses. They're just there for their education. So the fear is real. I'm not sure exactly how many people. I couldn't find that information. Is like, is it a large amount of students? It does sound like it's a smaller group of students that are chanting and doing the rants of anti-Semitism. Doesn't really specify what groups it's referencing. He was saying that they were trying to burn an Israeli flag. He's been screamed at as calling him a Nazi in regards to it. So there is some very some information as far as information and statements that are being made on the campuses is just not okay. And they do need to reel that back in. If you want to have a protest, you can protest. But as far as the anti-Semitism rhetoric, is just not going to be accepted on campus or anywhere else in the United States.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I mean, we as Black people have gone through all of our own struggles, and we understand what it's like to be, you know, treated unfairly. So I'm not with it when any group is treated unfairly. Jewish, white, whatever, European, whatever you want to say. It's a horrible thing. And I think that we have to be able to have balance. If we're going to protest the right way, protest without making any negative statements towards another race or anything like that. Just go ahead, make your point about what the issues are, try to get those fixed. Speaking of the House Speaker Mike Johnson visited Columbia University, and he spoke to the students out there. So, Walanda, what was his message, and how was he received?
Real interesting. And don't get me wrong. I think he was out there hopefully for good faith and protecting our Jewish students. So he's calling on the president, I want to say her name's Shafiq, to resign unless she can improve what he calls her failure to handle the anti-Israel protests on campus. So basically he was met with boos, hisses, couldn't even hear him. I don't know if you guys tried to watch him. I was like, I don't know what he's even saying, but basically, he was committed to, saying Congress needs to protect our Jewish students, make sure that this anti-Semitism comes to an end on here. He didn't really speak about the protests, on why they were protesting, which I found very interesting.
Yes.
He just focused on these individuals are being hurt and we need to suppress that. And what are we doing? So you're going to be fired because your campus is having protests, which we all know that's a First Amendment right? Freedom of speech. They were concerned. And again, most of them, especially on Columbia, it hasn't been crazy. They made it crazy by bringing in him and officers and stuff. But you didn't really hear a lot about that besides the young man that I found. So scene was real rowdy, lots of heckling again and booing. Again, he was drowned out by most of the shouting from the crowd. So yeah, he wasn't met with open arms on either side. So it was really interesting on why he was there.
This guy.
Yeah. Made a presence.
Mike John, talking about protecting Jews. You can't protect yourself, bro. You barely keeping your job now. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. The Congress members he's talking about supposed to be protecting Jewish students. They can't get together and make sure Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan got the money they need. They can't just handle normal daily business in the Congress right now. And they talking about doing this. I mean, I don't even see why he went down there to make an appearance, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
You know, he's got more important pressing business to be in there. And he needs to try to get the House Republicans together so they can actually get something done instead of trying to impeach people that ain't impeachable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to hold up votes that should have been passed 18 months ago and letting people down the front lines. I mean, it's just crazy why he was even out there. And of course he should have been booed. I don't understand why people go after these presidents, these university presidents, when they got a hard job, because there's no way that any way that they try to go isn't going to work. If they side with the protesters of Palestine, you know what I'm saying? It's a hard job on that, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't let them get out of hand, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, anyway they fall on it, it's a tough job for them. So to go call for this lady's job when she's in the midst of probably one of the hardest things she has to do is just crazy, man. So
yeah,
you know, that's about it with Mike Johnson. Who knows? They still got to balance in the budget in Congress, and if he falls on that and has to work with the Democrats to get that done, he may not even be the speaker anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
And that'll be the third speaker we have in
the
damn Congress getting nothing done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah.
I just thought it was interesting him coming there and saying like the activities are, not wanted and all this other kind of stuff. But they always press about First Amendment rights and freedom of speech and peaceful protests. I mean, you go back to, again, January 6th, that's all they said. It was peaceful protests. And it wasn't peaceful over there, but over here has been way more peaceful than it has been as far as rowdy, except when they were booing him and heckling him.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that freedom of speech thing. We are definitely going to jump into that because that's an important element of it. And also, I mean, I just think that, like I said about balance, he's going to come over there. He needs to be balanced too, because there are Muslims in our country as well as Jewish people. And those people who are Palestinian descent, their families are being destroyed. They're not part of Hamas. Their families are being hurt. They're not part of, but he's just over there representing one side of this atrocities that are happening over there. If he's going to be the Speaker of the House of the United States,
speak for everyone.
Speak for everybody, bro. Just don't go over there, be one-sided about it. And we're trying to be balanced. We don't even have that responsibility. We can be one-sided as fuck if we want to, but he does not. He should be speaking to everybody. And right now, I'm speaking to y'all guys because I need you to press that like button. Okay, I did it to myself for you.
You did it
okay?
to yourself.
I need y'all to press that like button, and also I need you to subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz. Share this on all of your social media platforms out there. All right.
Yeah.
So got about 5 minutes in this segment, so I'm gonna try to get us moving through. But we talked about Columbia. Now let's give some love to UT, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ace, your boy, Willie McStink Pants, Governor Greg Abbott deployed state troopers at UT. Was that even necessary?
You know, he ain't got to jump on every issue. Like Abbott don't have to show what we do in Texas on every damn issue, man. Why we got to go hard in the paint? You know what I'm saying? Like he got the state troopers out there and riot gear. I didn't even know the state troopers had riot gear. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, but he got the out there riot gear. Here's my deal with Greg Abbott. Where was all this power when Uvalde got shot up? Why ain't you round up the troops then? You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I'm sorry. They were there already.
Thank you.
And didn't do anything. And you sat up there in the press conference with the leader of the state troopers right there, blaming the local people. What are you talking about? You know, so I mean, and, you know, if you live in Texas and you're a gambler, especially in San Antonio, you go down to Kickapoo, and Kickapoo's in Eagle Pass. And Eagle Pass, you got to drive through Uvalde and all of that. The drive down there, I swear you can count 20 state troopers when you're driving down there. They're always out pulling people over. So I'm surprised that when Uvalde was happening, that they were there. Then why don't they just do what they always doing? You know what I'm saying? Enough said with that. Getting back on the topic, you pull out all these people, all these troopers to go hard, all the on this protest here at UT on the campus. You're arresting people, arresting professors, arresting students, and going hard and talking about. Greg Abbott said, well, if you protest, you should go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you going so hard on this? Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But I know why. It's just like going down to the border, which it ain't no border crisis down there. We in Texas. Hey, yo, anybody don't live in Texas? Ain't no border crisis. I haven't seen any migrants. And I live in Texas. I live an hour away from the border and I haven't seen all these migrants crossing over. So I don't know what the crisis is. But Greg Abbott be at the border and all these people that are running down here, these Republicans acting like the border's just getting ran over with people. That ain't happening, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Just like this right now, him coming out to grandstand, that's all it is, to make himself look like he's doing something, is all him just trying to make his, appease his base and act like he's just going hard on something. I can guarantee you, UT's protest was nothing like Columbia's protest. So why he was out there with all them troopers beating up people, I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? For him to do that, other than him to grandstand and make himself look like he's doing something like he always does.
Yeah, they said the students were literally standing on the green lawn, not harassing anybody. And the chants they were saying were free Palestine, killing children is a crime. I don't know where the anti-Semitism is in that. I don't know where the harassment's coming from. I don't know where the violence is coming from. But he came down there and, like you said, basically someone who's supposed to be speaking upon, again, First Amendment rights and freedom of speech, and it's okay to protest peacefully. But he just came in there and just,
full riot gear.
I'm
saying they had these guys in full riot gear, arresting people, arresting professors and everybody. Just you know what I'm saying? Just nuts, man. I don't get it. And once again, we can fall on the freedom of speech. The MAGA party are only good with freedom of speech when it falls on their side. They don't care about nobody else having freedom. You don't have freedom of speech. We got freedom of speech. We say what we say. That's freedom of speech.
So let's break that down real quick about the freedom of speech. That's an important topic, man. So I want to point this one at Walanda. To your point, same conservatives out there who hollering about freedom of speech are trying to suppress the voices of these protesters.
Yeah.
What's going on with that, Walanda?
Basically, what Adrian said, maintain power, control your narrative, protect your certain beliefs and ideologies. So what they say. So basically, you just want to suppress somebody else's voice. You want to maintain that power that Republicans want to have at this moment, because it seems like it doesn't go both ways. It's like what I say, yes, freedom of speech. I need to say what I need to say. The end, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. So pretty much, just want to make sure they encourage, or they want to make sure they encourage the same type of mindset.
I mean, shoot, if Trump got freedom of speech,
Yeah.
everybody got freedom of speech. If Trump can say everything he want to say,
Yeah.
I mean, good God, everybody got freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get it, and I don't get why. You know, what Abbott pretty much did. It's like, in the streets, it's like, all right, I want to be the big bully, but I'm gonna fight the weakest people. Let me go ahead and jump on these college kids that are protesting and show my might. There's no reason he should have had the state police out there in full riot gear. You know what I'm saying? They got campus police.
Yeah.
They got Austin police. Why you got the state police out there? I have no idea.
Because that's the only thing he controls.
Yeah, exactly.
So he gonna flex his muscles of bringing his people out there.
Yeah.
And then that brings up another point. I mean, Abbott is an elected official, bro. When you see the shit that he keeps doing, we got to remember to vote, man. So, Ace, how are these protests impacting upcoming elections at all levels?
Oh, okay. Well, let's start with, I guess, my fear and my thing. I mean, the young vote's going to be big this year. What my issue is with this is, as much as you want to, and you can't hold America to an accord so much, but it's hard to blame a guy, and I'm talking about Biden or any president. I would even say this if Trump was in office. They're adhering to a treaty with Israel that's been in play for the longest. You just can't wake up one day as president and say, I'm not going to help out Israel. You know what I'm saying? Now, I agree with them. They need to stop giving them money. They need to go a little harder against them. But even with that said, all the things that Biden has done to Israel, they've ignored. He told them not to attack Iran. They still attacked them. You know what I'm saying? He's told them to, let the trucks in Palestine. They finally started doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I think how it affects it is, I think that a lot of times, once again, they group everything into one cause and say, hey, well, you know what? Maybe I won't vote for Biden. Or maybe, I'll vote for Trump because maybe he can change things. I wish things worked like that. But to be realistic, if Trump gets in office, he's going to have the same problems Biden's going to have. He's not going to change it overnight because they're bound by the UN and they're bound by a lot of treaties that they have to adhere to. That's just the way government works. That's my fear. And I think that's how it's going to affect it. It may sway the young vote in one way, shape, or form, which may affect the election. It's going to actually show up and be a dent with that. Now, I think that you kind of play it off of Abbott locally. Well, governor, Texas just needs to stop being stupid and voting Abbott in the office. I'm going to just say what it is.
Yeah.
Abbott only benefits a small, minute percentage of the population in Texas.
Rural.
Rural, and a lot of people, the affluent, the people who have money. But everybody else, he don't represent you. He don't do nothing to help you out. He actually does things not to help you. And we still vote him in. I have no reason why Abbott is still in office and gets all the terms and policies that he has. A lot of it has with the Texas gonna stay red bullshit. But a lot of you people in Texas voting red are voting against yourself. I don't want to call out a particular people. You know who you are. Look around. It's not benefiting you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They ain't your people. They ain't helping you out. So,
exactly.
And that's the reason Abbott gets to gun down here and pass stupid abortion laws and send the Texas state troops to beat up people. But when real people need them, they ain't nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not happy again with the education system, and if you need to open your eyes for those people who have kids, I'm telling you, if you're not happy with what's going on there and the funding, if you're not happy with the gun laws that we still don't have, okay, and kids are dying every day in regards to gun laws or not having any. Like you said, if you're not happy with the abortion laws, if you're not happy with women's rights, I mean, you just gotta,
vouchers.
Yeah, school vouchers. I mean, those are all things that, as far as the governor has a hand in and a say. So we really need to just, make sure that we're educating ourselves. Do understand. I use the analogy, like the higher you get up in your company, right, you get more information. You always like, well, why does this person do this? And then as you move up, you are more informed. I mean, it's the same thing with the government. There's things, of course, that we don't know, right? Decisions that we can't make, but there's information that we do have. And I don't think that we do enough with that. We don't make good decisions based upon the information because a lot of us just don't want politics or we don't want to be around politics because it makes us feel bad or it's negative or whatever. I said, okay, as impasse, we got to come on. We got to research because it is impacting you and it's going to impact your kids and your kids' kids and your future. So if you're concerned about your future, I got to get out there and vote.
Yep.
This is how I put
Great
it on
point, man.
politics, man. Like, nobody likes to pay their electric bill, but you got to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's politics. Who really likes talking about the things that are, nobody wants to argue about that and have that, but you got to do it. So once you stop, you ignore it, just like you ignore your light bill, your lights get cut off.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's politics for you.
Yep.
You ignore it, then things happen. Then you sit around shrugging your shoulders talking about what you don't like. What are you
Right.
talking about what you don't like? You haven't voted ever in a local election. You barely pay attention to the state election, and you only vote for the president, and you turn that on around August and start learning to listen to the election and make a decision from there. So yeah, it's important, man. You got to pay attention to all this, man. And that's what we're here for, man, to keep y'all informed with all this.
So let me jump on the world of YouTube out here. We got Leaving Marks. He says Jewish Voice for Peace wasn't taken very well.
Right.
And then he also said we can't get Mike Johnson out of there quick enough. He's kind of scary with his religious views.
Yeah, he is.
Very.
And Steve from the world of YouTube also said none of this would be happening if the U.S. strongly supported a Palestinian homeland. Don't get me wrong, what Hamas is doing is horrible, but we have to ask, why are these things happening over there? Israel keeps going under Palestinians' land and building, and they treat the Palestinians like crap. They were there before modern Israel and are not considered citizens. That is not fair.
Yeah.
And then Leaving Mark says, conservatives have never believed in free speech. They even censored themselves. That's why they say, let's go, Brandon.
Right. That's why I was wondering, why do they say that? I was like, let's go, Brandon. I don't understand.
No, that's somebody was saying something else, and then they said Brandon or whatever, and then that's where they got that.
Okay, I was like, sounds so ignorant, but okay.
Well, somebody else is ignorant is Tennessee. Tennessee very ignorant right now. Tennessee out of damn control. In a move that sparked considerable debate, the Tennessee legislature has passed a bill allowing teachers to carry concealed guns in schools. This decision comes a year after a tragic school shooting in Nashville, which claimed 6 lives. So, Walanda, please tell our viewers about the key points of this new law.
Okay, so the bill was passed on Tuesday, and that would allow some teachers and staff to carry guns at a K-12 public institution. There are several requirements that I'll go over in place. Teachers and staff which to carry concealed handguns on campus must first maintain a valid Tennessee handgun carry permit. They also have to have written authorization from their superintendent, principal, or chief of law enforcement, and a complete background check, which I would think that teachers already have in Tennessee. Not sure about that.
I don't know.
Right. I was like, when they said that, I was like, y'all don't have background checks. But anyways, and a psychological exam given by a medical, licensed practitioner. So those are the requirements, and that's the bill. Now, they don't have to carry, but they have permission to. That's what they keep emphasizing. Like, well, they don't have to. But you got some that are going to follow this and they're going to carry and bring guns. Also, the caveat was to it is that, guess what? Parents, you ain't going to know because they don't have to tell you anything. They don't have to tell you what teachers or what staff members are carrying in their institution. That's where I felt was like, wow, you always come student, parent rights here. Well, there went your right because you will not know if your teacher has a concealed weapon on them or a staff member.
Well, I guess if you're a parent and you mad, you come up there with a gun, you can't know which ones got guns and which ones don't. So, I mean, parents are just as liable. There's risk with every person coming in there tripping. So I guess it makes sense. But I still would not. Yeah, if as a parent that's not going to come up there tripping, you're right. I'll be like,
I mean,
my teacher have a gun on him.
Well,
right
I mean,
now?
I want my kid in there. I mean, I want my student in there because now your child is now subjected to an additional risk.
Yeah.
That's my point, is that me as a parent, I don't know if my child's sitting in a room, somebody flips out, a gun goes off, and now my baby's dead.
Yeah.
You have an additional risk and liability that's associated to it, but you'll never know that until something happens.
The devil's playground is loving this. The NRA is loving this.
Oh, yeah.
Satan is loving this, man. Let me take it from another angle. All right. So, school shootings are out of control. We know that, right? Like that's happening. So, like, what is, like with what you said there with some of the requirements? I mean, what happens if you have a decent teacher that's got the training and is good? Like, what harm isn't that a little bit of, is there some good with that, with him being in there just in case a school shooter jumps
we're gonna
in?
talk about the advantages in a minute.
Yeah.
So I want to jump the gun, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, but with that being said, and I'll piggyback on what Londa was saying. Yeah, now you got a teacher in there with a gun, K through 12. So I mean, shit. I went to J. I mean, just think of Leroy Griffin. Just we always got to bring up Leroy Griffin. Just think of Leroy Griffin. What? Leroy Griffin was the toughest nigga in jail. Let's go and put it out there.
Nobody fucked with him.
Yeah, let's say Leroy Griffin overpowered the algebra teacher. Mr. Buckholz had a gun on him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I am not involved in this.
we be in trouble now.
Because I don't want this man coming to find me.
It is some niggas out there that you did not want to have a gun in John Jay High School, period.
Manhandling teachers and shit.
Leroy Griffin, John Woods, they just all jumped on Mr. Buckholz and got the gun, though. We all in trouble. Everybody in trouble. Shout out to John Woods, Pastor John Woods, man.
Oh my God. So hey, let me just go ahead and get into it then, man. What you were already going to touch on it, but what are some of the advantages of having guns in schools?
I just go back to a situation, maybe, and I just try to, touch on Uvalde because that's kind of close to my heart. Now it's close to home, but I say that, what happens if that teacher would have had a gun in there? And when the student turned his back, he was able to use it. I mean, that's a pretty positive thing. Maybe that deterrent that would deter people from shooting up schools. Like, you don't know who's got a gun in there now. So now I'm not going to go shoot up school, because I think a lot of what happens in schools is they know there's not a threat of them really getting shot, or there's a minimum threat of that happening. You got like a security guard there, maybe an off-duty policeman, one or two of them. So if, they can get in there, they know it's a strong possibility that they can do as much damage as they can do before they get taken care of, eliminated or even confronted. So now you don't know, janitor might have a gun. I mean, anybody might have a gun. You know what I'm saying? He said, look at the janitor. He's like, hell no.
She said, oh shit, my janitor?
The school nurse.
I love my staff. But
hey, the shop teacher might, the shop teacher's gonna be packing, you know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. He's probably already packing, like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
Making new accessories in class.
Oh yeah, no, he got a goddamn silencer on here. Smoking people. We made this in shop class. You know what I'm saying? So now, man, so I mean, and I'll be honest with you, we were saying it, and I was starting to see some positive things that could come out of it. Like, if it's done right, it may make sense. Now,
I actually like a lot of the things that the bill is, the mandatory things that you have to. I love the psychological test.
Yeah.
Background. I don't, like you said, I don't know, maybe they should already have one, but hey, they doing it. Like, and if they don't, now you're gonna do one. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that they have like a lot of things in there to help make sure that this is done the right way. If you're gonna have a gun, let's make sure these steps are taken. Like, I mean, you work in the education field. Do you see any positives from having the guns?
I like the psychological exam, but keep in mind, guys, like, we have I don't know what's happening, but mental health is a real thing that is happening to our kids and our staff members. And I'm just thinking about the things that I read in the news still right now. Like, we still got issues with, adults with inappropriate relationship with kids. And now I got a gun involved in this too. So now I got somebody having an inappropriate relationship with a child. I don't know if this person is able to have a gun on them as well. Now you're scared of kids. I guess I just go down a rabbit hole.
You're trying to shift to the bad side. So let's just go ahead and go there. Let's tell us about the things that you see in negatives.
The negative too.
Because you don't see no positives, obviously.
I don't like. But again, I'm not for guns.
What are the negatives?
Gun violence is the leading killer. Listen, leading killer of children in the United States. So you want to put more guns in a situation where more kids are. It doesn't make sense to me, because statistics are saying that it's going to get worse when you bring in more guns, just from statistics. So far, we have 436 children under the 18 years of age that have been killed by gun violence this year. So now we're like barely into April. So we've already had quite a few students that have died due to gun violence. Again, under the bill, parents will not be notified that their teacher's carrying. I don't agree with that. I think we should divulge that information. I think I have a right as a parent to know if someone has a gun, because again, I'm somebody who would be like, I don't want my kid in there. But they wouldn't have that. That's suppressed information from them. And again, you can't put rainbows on your desk, but you can carry a gun in Tennessee. This is crazy to me. I don't understand it. I really don't. And again, especially with it being a leading cause of death of kids, I'm just going to put them in a situation now where they're more likely to die because they are going to be surrounded by more guns. So
how does that play? Like, how do school shootings play into that leading cause of death? Like,
what do you mean? Like how many?
Like, isn't the leading cause of death because we have so many school shootings?
It's just guns in general. It'll just say like the statistics is about guns. But we know we have still an issue with, I mean, like I said, Uvalde just happened. It's been 2 years now. On there, but there's already been, it's been just a recent one not too long ago. And do understand, most of our districts, I have an officer on my campus that has a weapon, but I feel comfortable in that because, again, that is his job field, right? Most people don't go into education because they want to carry a gun to work. That's not what we're there for. We're an educational institution. I rely on my officer to do those kind of things and protect us. I don't rely on my staff members to do so. I want them to focus on education. And I think it's hard to do that. Yeah. I don't know. I think it would be very difficult because now you have a dual job, and that's not what you were hired for.
Well, but and they also said the teachers can choose if they want to do that.
Okay. Case in point, that is
But
correct.
what if with Tennessee, we look a couple years down the line and they show that the deterrence of teachers having guns really dropped the case of school shootings, and that also dropped the death with children. You know what I'm saying? With gun violence being there. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with it, is that like maybe if they know that, hey man, I don't know who got a gun up there, I'm not gonna go up to the school, shoot up the school because Mr. Johnson may be packing, you know what I'm saying, and have no idea. What happens if that deterrence is actually a good thing? Now, and like I said, I'm just trying to also look at what good may come of it.
Right.
But I also too think it's crazy to put guns in that environment, and not only because of the mental capability of the teacher, but you say K through 12. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to high school, them kids as big as teachers. I mean, you got football players, you got all kinds of stuff. Now they have access to guns that they may be able to take off of a smaller teacher that made the decision to pack one. Or there's a instance to where a student and the teacher is arguing, gun gets pulled out, there's a wrestle and a struggle, and now somebody accidentally gets shot. Maybe the teacher gets shot and that kid's now ruined for life. Maybe this teacher shoots him and he's ruined for life, whatever. So I see the negativity in it, but I also want to look at the fact that, hey, maybe if there's an idea of the fact that your teacher might be packing, then maybe that takes people out of the simple fact of thinking they can just walk up in the schools and start shooting them.
It's a deterrent. Exactly. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's external, but like you said, as you get older, I think sometimes, I hate to say this, but I think our threats sometimes are within the school system. They're not coming from the outside, they're coming inside. So that just makes me worry. Like you said, the older they get. As they're younger, no, I don't see that. But as you get older, if you've seen secondary, like you said, some of these kids look like grown men and grown women in general. And again, mental health, I mean, it just scares me, just the things that we're dealing with the mental health of students and just everybody in general that needs that type of assistance. And now we're bringing in guns into the equation. I think we need to get one under control before we start doing that.
I think that there's pros and cons to it, right, on both sides. And I'm glad that we're having a conversation about both sides of that, because anytime you start to execute on a new idea, there's going to be opportunities for you to improve it. And to your point, like maybe there's data that comes out of it that says, hey, this is decreasing that. But also at the same time, if we have concerns, and hopefully we don't have any type of business case that this happens where we can use it as an example. But as we start to learn, we might start to say, hey, instead of having them conceal carry, because like maybe a kid does overpower a teacher and take their gun, why not have the gun somewhere hidden in the classroom in a gun safe? Where like, okay, you can't just pull it out if a shooter comes in, but if a shooter comes into school and you know that, you can go to that secure place where no kid can get it, where it's hidden, get your gun out, and then be prepared in your classroom waiting just in case that fool comes in there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other things you can do to mitigate risk, and there's maybe even opportunities to add to that idea to make it
Right.
better.
With you saying that, it does say that the weapons cannot be carried openly, so they can't be like wearing it on their waistband like
There you
it's the
go.
Wild Wild West. No, like in stadiums and gymnasiums, you can't carry as well, so you can't have it. And in large auditoriums, so if you're having like a game or something,
Mhm.
you can't carry in those areas. So there is
So
some
you can carry,
you
or
cannot.
No, but you said in the first situation, you said they're not
Weapons
allowed to
cannot
carry
be
at all.
carried openly. Okay, so you can't carry it on your person.
So it
It's
can't be
just not
carried openly. It could be
Yeah.
hidden and
hidden.
carried.
Yes,
Okay,
And
so it
it-
could be concealed carry,
concealed carry,
but not open carry.
not
So
open carry.
that's different than
But
having it in a gun safe somewhere where nobody can get it. Because
Right.
if it's concealed and I grab you, like, oh shit,
Oh,
I
that's
feel a
true.
gun.
yeah,
I might
that's
take
true.
it from you. So
Right.
I'm saying that maybe they start to look at it from, okay, we don't want concealed carry either because there's a risk of somebody, I mean,
Grabbing you.
Leroy
Right.
Griffin taking his gun.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas maybe we could just go ahead and have it in a concealed place in the classroom that's locked.
Gotcha.
Locked away, and then if it happens, go to that location, get your gun, and be prepared for the.
Yeah. There's
the
no
threat.
that wasn't
That
in the bill,
eliminates
but
the
that's
risk of like
right.
kids finding it, kids
Right.
taking it, and shit like that.
I also
Yeah.
like you can't bring the gun in when you're dealing with disciplinary matters.
Yeah,
So I
don't
was
do
like,
that.
yeah, because
Look
I was
here,
first
Billy.
thing everybody get
I
mad.
heard that you wasn't doing your goddamn math
Yeah.
homework.
So
Hey.
no, this is it.
Paddle of detention.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'm paddle.
You
What
gonna
you
put a
want?
Glock right there, bro?
Yeah, right in
Which one
front
you
of
want,
you.
dog? Paddle
Yeah.
of
You know you
detention.
done
Yeah.
fucked up, right?
Okay, which one?
Look, you know you done fucked
You know
up,
you
right?
done fucked up.
And you done fucked up if you ain't pressed that like button. All right. And make sure that you subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz and share this on all of your social media platforms. So, Walanda,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to the comments in a minute here,
Yeah.
Tina. I'm gonna jump through these questions real quick, but
Nice.
Walanda, the Metro Nashville Public Schools is not going to allow their teachers or staff members to carry concealed weapons on its campuses. So why did they make that decision?
I would
Shit.
definitely say just everything that we just covered on here. Like you said, the liability is really high. And I don't think people understand that we as educators actually carry insurance as well, or choose not to. I'm thinking it's just the liability that would just throw you through the roof. If something happens, I mean, this is not just people's job. This is people being sued personally. Because just imagine if somebody takes your baby out accidentally, and then now the district is going to be responsible as well. So really the biggest thing is liability. They don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want it. They don't
Yeah,
want it.
shit. Y'all been in that. Nashville is gangster. So
Yeah.
is Memphis. Like, yeah, you know, there's about 25 Leroy Griffins in their high schools, man. Like they ain't gonna risk that. Not no Nashville. Shoot, Nashville goes hard, man. But you know, it's funny, and you might be getting to this, but I was, you know, we definitely know there's a problem when it comes to school shootings and doing all that. And my solution was also, I don't see why the government or the local government, like they don't just dispatch and have a police presence there. And I'm not saying like, you know, you have one somewhat, but I mean like an actual, almost like a mini station at some
They
of these
do
schools.
in some districts. We have our own. We actually we
Have
have
an
our own.
office.
Yeah, without me disclosing where I work. But anyways, but we have our own. Yes, we have a captain. We have a chief of police. So we have those
That's
things.
what's up.
But do understand once again, just like the teacher shortage, there's an officer shortage as well.
Mhm.
So, and some school systems probably can't afford it. I mean, it's quite a bit of money as well. But most larger districts, I'll tell you right now, have their own police force.
Like what if, and you know, and this might sound like Wild Wild West or something, but what if the solution ain't just like, hey man, you can pack your gun and conceal it, but maybe more of a, you know, in that situation, hey, we got like a police presence here.
Mhm.
Some of you teachers can volunteer to be kind of like deputies or whatever. We're going to train y'all in that deal, you know, in law enforcement somewhat, to where you could do that. I mean, I'm just trying to come
Right.
up with some solutions.
No,
here,
I
know
hear
what
you.
I'm
Solution based. It's
Yeah.
just very frustrating again was when people come, like just like when anybody picks their major. Like I wouldn't be, I gotta have a dual major. So I gotta be into education, but I like law enforcement too. So I might have to kill somebody, but I want to teach you about some history or some civics.
Well,
I guess that's my mindset
Yeah.
from that, is that you have a dual role. And I don't know if that's
but here's the
fair
thing.
to put on somebody. And they don't get paid
I don't
enough.
think that they have to do it. I think you're saying like
Even
kind of like
choice.
voluntary.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with carrying a gun. You have to, if you're going to carry a gun in Tennessee, there are requirements. So
Mhm.
that's just a I think that you have more rigor around that requirement to say, now we're going to train you fully to be a damn you me policeman. If you want to carry a gun up in here, you're going to get full training to be an officer, just like a regular officer would get. Now, I don't know if that don't come with more pay or whatever, but solutions oriented, just saying, hey, great, you can carry a gun and here's some training classes, or damn it, you're going to put on a uniform now, fool, and you a teacher. And you're going to be able to get, now, do you get more money or whatever? That's what I'm saying. That's a whole other conversation, but solutions oriented, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
touche on that. I just know the liability is too high. And I'm going to tell you like this, when it comes to an individual getting in trouble with the district would be like, that's a decision you made. You decided that you wanted to carry. And so here we are.
I can see a policeman being a health teacher.
So,
like, nigga, you'll die if I hit you with this bullet. So, Ace, there's your health lesson for the day. So this is a big thing, man. Like you said, this bill is just in Tennessee, but how might it impact like other schools in other states and help with battling gun violence?
Man, don't give Greg Abbott no ideas.
Yes.
Don't give Greg the scientists no ideas, bruh.
We next.
We next, man. And like I said, and trying to really put a positive spin on it, I was trying to do here also, but I don't see it being good if Texas comes here because Greg Abbott just knows how to make that horrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some way.
He don't go the right way about shit, do he?
Yeah. The scientists, everybody has that issue in the field. We want to end people coming in and shooting up schools. And there's a lot of ways. I just think that it'd be good to have a conversation. But, I think that when it falls on some of these governors that are maybe in red states and they have other agendas, they sit in the pocket of NRA, things of that nature, I just think it doesn't work out positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see the same thing in Texas, but you don't need any of those qualifications. You just can carry a gun.
Right.
We can already
take out the psychological test.
Yeah, we can already open carry and all that stuff here. So I can already see that, okay, let's take everything that we require you to, and hey, if you're a teacher, you can just bring a gun up here.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us, don't have to have no training or nothing. And I can see that coming. And the reason I bring the NRA involved, because end of the day, in the story, they're going to always get behind something and finance something that's going to be able to put more guns in there, regardless of people are dying or not. So I can see governors that are really influenced by the NRA pushing that bill and doing that. Some of the solutions we came up here with came with training. They're coming with,
psychological tests.
Tests. We care about your kids, but I know some people out there that just, they'll look at that money influence over that and let some crazy stuff get in your schools, and it wouldn't work. Next thing you know, like you say, now we're having some of the nightmares that we had, where a teacher done turned and they're holding their kids hostage because they're able to take a concealed gun in there, or like you said, a student gets in there and gets the gun away from people, and he just goes on a shooting spree. And there's ways to prevent that, and also protect our children from the ongoing onslaught of these school shootings that are going on. And I think that's where we're trying to get to, and just come up with a solution for that. So,
well, somebody needs to protect Trump's friends from Trump, because all these motherfuckers is going down. So there was a major turn of events in Arizona this week as the Arizona grand jury indicted Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and other allies of former President Donald Trump for the alleged role in attempting to overturn the 2020 election results. So, Ace, what are the charges, and what do these indictments mean for the individuals involved?
Basically, in Arizona, they're being held accountable for fake electoral, sending fake electors over there in Arizona, and trying to influence that election there. And what's happening now are the individuals that are doing it: Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows. They're being held accountable, and they're basically having to go to court for that, being called to court for that right now, being done. Now, the crazy part about it is Donald Trump is listed as an unindicted co-conspirator.
So we're going to get to that. I want to jump forward with that, because there's a whole lot of conversation we're going to have on that one.
Wow. Okay. So I ain't going to jump ahead. But yeah, that's basically what's going on with it right now in Arizona.
What you got, Melanda?
No, that's exactly what he said. I mean, this is really interesting. That's all
I'm
I have to
holding
say.
back, right? He said hold back. I'm
Yeah,
Now,
holding
are
back.
there any specific charges? Like this, I'm pretty sure there's a list of charges that
Oh,
you
I
probably
didn't.
found on there.
No,
You
I
didn't get a
didn't.
chance to
I
look
didn't
that
go
up.
up over. I know he has 2 indictments. Like no, but those are other states that have charged Trump. So I don't
Mhm.
have like just for Arizona.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do that then. Let's talk about your boy. Why was Trump not indicted in this case?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, I believe, and they also stated too that they want to get these defendants to flip. Okay, it's easier to flip on the former president. They're trying to see if Trump's going to take office again, because again, you don't want to put Trump in a situation where, because it's what he's screaming already, like, y'all just don't want me to become president. You are like somehow we as a country and everybody else is against Trump and doesn't want him to be president. So they don't want to put him in that light. Um, they may not charge at this time for tactical reasons. Okay. So it doesn't mean that he's not going to be charged, just especially how the title is written, meaning you did something, but I'm not charging you. Doesn't mean I'm never charging you. They just may not be charging him right now. And just waiting on that immunity ruling as well of the Supreme Court. So we still have a bunch of rulings and things that are in play. So I think it makes it difficult for some states. And he's tied up in court right now. Like he's in court until I don't know when he's getting out of court. You know what I mean? So just because right now they're not charging
He's hoping
him,
after
they're
November.
they're leaving it open, because I really want to see after November what happens. Because again, if he becomes a sitting president, yada yada yada, we already know about that. That will kind of. Yes. So that's where we're at.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I just sit there and I'm just amazed on how, like, where did the justice system or anything come up to where like everybody that I mess with that went to jail, was going to jail, they caught up on shit that it's gonna benefit me, but I ain't gonna go to jail. I was thinking today, man. When I was looking at TV this week, I said, this fool got 3 major court cases going on at the same time. He got the Supreme Court tied up. You know what I'm saying? He got New York tied up.
Georgia.
We ain't even talking about that. Ain't even going on yet.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
right now, what's going on? And he got Arizona tied up. All of it points to him, and I know this might be getting a little off a radar, but then I'm sitting up there and I'm looking at the Supreme Court, and this lawyer is just straight saying, if he sends SEAL Team 6 to kill somebody, he's a president, and that's an official act, should he be immune for that? And the dude, he didn't come out and say it, but he was like, yeah, he's immune to that. Like, we're really arguing that in the Supreme Court? That he can off people and get away with it? Like,
it's
I mean, he
realistic.
does off people. He off what's his name? But I mean, he had a reason, but he off people.
Yeah, I mean, and we know president, and the killer part of me, why it's such a insult to my intelligence. We all know the president sometimes has to send people out to kill people.
Yep.
Foreign lands. He has to make that order. Yep. He has got to make that call. But this cat was talking about a political rival. Like, he don't want Biden in the race no more. So he just gonna send SEAL Team 6 over there and off him. And since he's a sitting president, that's an official act. Now, this is the lawyer saying this. Like, you actually stayed up all night and studied this and came up with a reason to defend that. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Like, you are that into whatever the hell he's talking about doing, that you're going to defend that and make that eligible. Then the stupid ass Alito, I'm gonna say it, Supreme Court justice says, I'm thinking about down the line. Well, dumbass, don't you think if you put this law in now, 20 years from now, it's gonna be a president that actually does this? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to get off the case or whatever we're talking about, but it's just nuts that he has all these cases tied up, and people are still thinking about voting for this idiot. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get it.
What I found was interesting was the fact that you brought up he is a unindicted co-conspirator. And that means, yeah, you part of this, but we're not indicting you in this indictment. It does not mean that we never will. So I like that point that you brought up.
Yeah, it's tactical reasons. And you know what I found that was crazy? And I kept going through this, and I'm like, in any other business industry, or, just think about your job. When something happens, who do they go for? You know whose neck they cut off? The president. who's ever in charge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the highest of the high. You still got to accept accountability because you are the one ultimately in charge. And for them, like you said, with all your friends around you and all the cronies, but you are not being accountable, it's wild to me. But
and you don't want the benefits off of.
Right. But it's a tactical, I want to say it's very tactical. I don't know what it is. Again, I don't have all the
I don't
charges
understand
online,
all
but-
the tactical and we doing
Right.
this and we're straight up in the face. We know what's going on. That sickens me. And all the only good thing Trump's done is point out how hypocritical this the justice system is for privileged white people. And that's basically it. Because if he wasn't a privileged white person, he wouldn't be going through this right now. That we can blank see with common sense that all of this points to his benefit. But we gotta call him a co-conspirator. He's gonna win the election. He's gonna benefit if these electors go in here and pull off what they're doing.
It's for him.
He's gonna do it. He orchestrated this. He's the only president that tried to steal an election. You know what I'm saying? We see that. You know what I'm saying? So why we have to tiptoe through the tulips with this bullshit? Like white privileged person is running, and they have the money and the resources to play with the justice system, and that's basically all it is. Everybody with common sense can see where it all points to, and that's what's frustrating about this whole situation.
Agree.
Yeah, man. So what other states are in this game right now? Like you said, you brought up earlier, there's a bunch of damn states. Like he in all kind of cases. Y'all both kind of touched on this. Like what other states are charging him with disrupting the election? And what does that tell you about his guilt or innocence?
Well, the New York, I don't want to call it the hush money trial because it's not the hush money. You can pay off hookers if you want to. That's not illegal. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what they have them with, or you can pay off people for affairs. But the way he orchestrated it through the National Enquirer is the problem. And what he tried to do was say, hey, National Enquirer, kill all the negative stuff on me and amplify all the negative stuff on my opponents. That's what the problem is. And that's what a hush money trial in New York is coming into play, because he came up with a plan with National Enquirer to affect the election. He knew he was running for president. So anything that's negative against me, and they call it a catch and kill that. But if you got something negative on Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, run that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say people get it twisted and say, and he comes out and says, man, people are coming from me. No, this dude sat up with his friend, which was the National Enquirer, and said, hey, do this for me to affect the election. You know, bro, I mean, we've been knowing this since we were kids. He's cheating.
Basically,
any game you play and you cheat and get caught, that's just what it is. And that's basically what it is. He's cheating at it. Hey, you know what? And you got stuff on me. You got real stuff on me, but kill the real stuff on me. And if something is kind of, like Ben Carson, he put a sponge in somebody, well, then amplify that. You know what I'm saying? And give me a sway in the election. That's the problem, is that when it came to him running for president, he was doing everything he could to cheat to win. With that, we're getting Russia involved. I mean, come on. How much shit has this dude done to make us realize that he cheated to win the presidency, and he's trying to cheat again to do it. And then when he was lost, he tried to cheat to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just right there. But I guess that's a whole other show. Man. I don't get too much.
Yeah. So right now, like you said, we have two different indictments: the New York, and we have Georgia coming up. Do you know Georgia hasn't gone away? It's just a little quiet right now, but keep your seatbelt on. There's one in Florida and there's one in the District of Columbia. So overall, he has a total of 88 felony charges. 88. So I'm sure out of those 88, for those who don't believe he has done anything and we're just out to get him, Trumpy has done something. Okay. He has 88 felony charges. And this is in various states, guys.
And to remind you, he had these charges before he ran for president.
Correct.
You already had the charges, and it wasn't to stop him from running for president.
No.
It was because he had these charges, so he decided to run for president so he could try to
get away.
Yeah. I think it's funny, man, that he's got all these charges, and like you said, something's gonna stick. But at the end of the day, I think that we've come to a place. We talked about this yesterday as a society where it's like there's a segment of our population that believes if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And that segment of our population also feels like everybody's doing it. Why are you charging him? Like there was a poll that came out the other day that said, they asked a group of people, do you feel that Trump is being treated harshly? And I think it was close to 40% of the people said yes. So that tells me, I'm like, okay, so people really think that even though we're in front of these, you're seeing the trials play out, and you're seeing a lot of the evidence that they're not maybe even seeing, but they're talking about, like, you can't like have cameras in a courtroom in New York, but they're talking on CNN about what's being said and what's happening and the evidence that's being on, and there's transcripts. They're like, there's a lot of evidence. Like this David Pecker is laying everything out, how they did it, how they agreed to do it. They had the banker for Cohen come on yesterday, lay everything out. This ain't no bullshit, y'all. If y'all paying attention and watching it, he did some shit. But I still think that there's another poll out there. 76% of the people said that if Trump gets found guilty, they'll still support him. Yeah, I think it's a segment of our population that's just like, cheating's okay. And I know people who have told me, do this, do that, cheat on this, cheat on. And I'm like, nah, I ain't taking that risk. I'm just a risk-averse person. But there's a segment of our population that feels like cheating is okay, and Trump shouldn't be, even though they know he cheated, you wouldn't be doing this. You're not doing this to everybody who cheats, and everybody cheats. So you're not doing it to everybody. Why are you doing it to him? You're treating him worse than you're treating all the other cheaters out there, basically is what they're saying.
They ain't getting caught. I can say on that.
Or they caught and they just not, it's like white collar crime. Like this, let that shit go. There's a lot of crimes out there that, let's just put it like this. You jaywalk and a police car drive by, you like, oh shit, this motherfucker give me a ticket. He like, man, fuck that shit. He keep on driving. He don't care about the fact that you jaywalked. Like some officer might pull your ass over and say, hey, you getting a ticket for jaywalking, but some won't. It's kind of like that's how they feel. Like people are making decisions to charge or not charge, but for some reason, everybody's choosing to charge Trump. Why don't just let this shit slide? Just like you would let it slide if I was jaywalking. You know what I mean? But it ain't. It's more serious than that shit.
Right. It's equity, and again, that means a lot of us don't understand what the word integrity is, or have ethics or morals. But they speak about it. But it's like, but but your actions speak differently. So,
Bernie Madoff. You know what I mean? You know, he ran the Ponzi scheme and he went to prison. He's still in prison, going in prison for a long time. And a lot of stuff they got in New York with Trump coming up and falsifying his records when it comes to his business. A lot of those schemes that he came up, his university, a lot of that stuff. And we can just go to the build the wall scam that they pulled on them that people went to prison for. Ponzi schemes. Same thing that Bernie Madoff sitting in prison. Ain't nobody crying over Bernie Madoff right now. And I get what you're saying. Well, people are cheating and blah, blah, blah. Ain't getting off. Well, everybody ain't running for president. You know what I'm saying?
And they shouldn't.
And they shouldn't.
And do you want the cheating Ponzi scheme guy being your president?
No. But I think that the point is when they talk about equity, like you said, well, if you're saying this is how we're going to charge him just like we would charge every other person. But then you turn around, you're like, well, every other person ain't being charged. So are you being equitable? Just are you saying like, hey, because of your job, you're going to charge me? Well, that's not fair either. I mean, you should be, if it doesn't matter who you are. And I'm not trying to say I agree, right?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm just putting it out there that this is their stance. And I can see if that's how they feel, then you know what? You could be right in that case. Because I know they ain't charging everybody for every single crime that happens. Because I know, guess what? Has anyone at this table or in this room ever driven drunk?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You goddamn lie.
How the hell am I supposed to get
you
home?
A lie. You a lie.
I'm not a lie.
I don't know about you.
I am not a lie. I do not.
I ain't gonna tell you by the time she came up my house drunk as fuck and all parked before we got married.
Oh wow, bro.
This is all.
The eyelash.
She just came over. I said, "Who is knocking at my door like that? Who is throwing rocks at my window?"
That is not true.
This motherfucker here wants some.
Not true.
So anyway,
this is like on YouTube. Does this like get published somewhere?
So anyway,
wake up.
Yeah, wake up, nigga.
No.
So my point is this. My point is this.
Principal Whitaker.
No,
my point is this. My point is this, man.
Lies and fabrication.
Everybody don't get charged for every crime that they
I
do.
got you.
Okay, and that's equity. If everybody got charged, right, they don't get caught. Right. Yeah. So everybody ain't getting charged. And even some people, they put it to you this way. Anybody at this table ever got pulled over for speeding and the officer let you go? Yes.
Yes.
So never had that happen.
So even if you get caught sometimes, Tina, Even if you get caught,
That is a
sometimes
yes.
they don't charge you.
That is
So
true.
that's the point that these people are making.
I've never had that.
Well, I have.
I have
And that's the point that these people are making. You don't charge everybody for everything, even if you know. So then why are you treating him like this? That's now, like I said, I don't agree. I think he should be charged for every fucking thing he's doing. But I can see their point. That's all.
That's what you're saying. I mean, and that's where that's where the sympathy grows in. But I also say, let's make that Bill Cosby. Let's make that Puff Daddy.
Let's not do that.
Let's make that Obama. I don't think that same sympathy comes into play. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now you talking about a separate issue, bro. You talking about
I'm just saying. I hear what you're saying, and I hear where that sympathy comes. I mean, everybody's doing, but here's also the deal. His party's been allowed to falsify and claim people and come up with things called like what's called the impeachment inquiry, which doesn't fucking exist. You know what I'm saying? Shit. And they've tried to investigate and come up with things not only on like a Biden, but they tried to impeach it. They tried to charge Biden's son. So they've had their opportunity to try to catch people and stuff, and it hasn't been there. So.
But that's when there's no evidence, and it's just false. It's just
exactly. But that's exactly what I'm saying. Where you feeling sympathy for? Oh well, y'all are treating Trump.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh no, Trump stuff's out there. That's why they got evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Biden ain't no evidence on Biden. They tried to go after Hunter Biden,
trying
to get hoping they could find something.
The funny thing was, what did they say? We're gonna have this inquiry to see if we should do an
investigation. An impeachment inquiry. We're gonna have an impeachment inquiry to see we should impeach him.
Yeah, because you ain't got nothing.
Inquire.
We had impeachable stuff on Donald Trump twice, and they didn't impeach him. You know what I'm saying? And
that's
we
their
talking
point.
about high
they
crimes.
wanted to find dirt or whatever they claim, because just like you said, people are doing stuff that they just didn't get caught doing.
Exactly.
And the Congress knows that. That's why they tight-lipped. They're like,
exactly.
If they get him, they're gonna come to me next, about taking money and just doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But hopefully we clean that up, because again, you're our Congress, you're a representative of us.
Yeah.
And again, with money and and power, man, we got to be more about equity.
I want you to go ahead and use your power to click that like button. Okay. Hit that subscribe button and also share this on all of your social media platforms. So, Ace, what do these indictments tell us about the integrity of our electoral system?
That was a whole bunch of big words at once.
On Saturday
early
at 12:07
when I'm only 1 Celsius in. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I mean. Well, it's a couple of things. One that there's a possibility. What Trump's exposed, there's a possibility that I didn't even really think about, to where we can we can influence the electorals illegally by sending fake electors in there.
Crazy shit. Nobody ever thought about.
Shit I even thought about. But I'm kind of, I can't say impressed. I guess I'm kind of glad that there's a system up there to kind of say, oh, we got, you're trying to bring some fake electorals up here. You're trying to do some bullshit, and we kind of caught you at it. There's some integrity in that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think people understand how corrupt it actually is on what he tried to do when he brought these fake electors in and stuff like that, especially like in the state of Arizona. He really, if you look at what's happening when he did that in Georgia and when he did it in Arizona, he really went like to smaller places. They really studied it and was like, all right, let's go to this particular location, and we're going to just bring in fake electors here. They didn't like walk into like Phoenix or somewhere where it was big, where it had been caught up. They tried to go to like the smallest or the most rural place and kind of do it to where they could kind of influence that and basically bring fake people that aren't the electors. Well, that's because they never won the popular vote. So now it's not like people went out and voted for Trump and said, hey, we wanted Trump to win on the popular side. We're going to go the backhanded way and try to cheat by bringing in electors and doing it that way. And it's very corrupt. But I'm glad that we have the system set up to kind of catch that, because he could have got away with that. Simply just got people that he knows are going to vote for him. He tried to move them in and move out the people that were actually put in there. And that's crazy. And then I think people don't really understand how nuts that is. And they just like ignore it and be like, well, that's okay. No, that ain't okay.
No.
It's the reason why nobody else ever tried that shit, and we never had this problem. And it's one person that actually sat down and had a team of people, Roger Stone and Steve Bannon, that actually sat down and studied the political system and said, this is the way we're going to steal the election, basically. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that sympathy and they coming at him, bullshit. He's doing things that nobody ever did. Nobody ever thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Believe you me, Nixon would have did that shit a long time ago. He got away with it. You know what I'm saying? And we persecuted Nixon for the Watergate shit.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this dude's doing all of this and that. You want to feel sorry for him? Fucking crazy.
What he said. I don't understand it. And it does, when people are scared of, the elections, and like they said, there's things that people are doing wrong, and, you can't trust this, and you can't trust that. But who's really doing so much distrustful things? I was like, the person that y'all trying to vote for is the one who's over here skirting and like you said, just embellishing things. And now we all want to feel, like you said, feel sorry for him. And it's just mind-boggling to me. And so questioning integrity. I mean, it's a running joke about politicians. Nobody trusts a politician.
Right.
They always say politicians are liars and thieves, and it's sad because we shouldn't have those type of people running our country, right? Making decisions for us. So
I just think, I just think that it just opens my eyes to the fact that there's a lot of, I guess, risk with our electoral system that we have not shored up. I think that there's a lot of possibility of someone coming in with the intent to do wrong with our electoral system. As you can see, like you said, with all the stuff that's going on, whether it be payments to keep people quiet so that, it doesn't hurt your chances to win, whether it's going in and having fake electors, whether it's telling someone over the phone to find me more votes. I mean, there's a lot of gaps in the process that allows people to take advantage and cheat more than what we probably thought there was before. Like you said, shit we didn't even think about doing that before. It was just like, people are making what is it? Getting dead people to vote. Like people that are dead. That was the only thing people used to worry about, stupid ass shit like that. People voting twice and shit like that. Now you like, fuck the votes, nigga. I'm going to the electors.
Yeah.
Because it don't matter how many motherfucking votes is out there. If the electors say you win this state or this whatever, you win it.
Yeah.
So that's that. So there's a lot of possibility for bad actors to do things they don't want to do. And besides that, our election system is fucked up anyway because there's money involved in it. Anytime there's money for campaigning, you got to have a certain amount of money to campaign. You got to have donations. You got to have all of this and that. There's always a chance for corruption or something that creates an unlevel playing field for everyone involved. So for me, I think it's opened my eyes to some bad things with the electoral system, and then also just validated some of the thoughts that I have about some of the shit that's fucked up already.
Yeah, I mean, look it, man, it ain't perfect, man. We all know that, but we can look around the world and see some other governments and see some things to where it ain't that either. You know what I'm saying? Like we know, especially in South America, where you have, democracies that are influenced by one guy is actually a dictator or whatever the case may be. And they have fake electors like Russia. We can just name that one. Putin always wins. It's, they go vote, but doesn't mean anything. Look at case in point. When we have to start pulling out the Constitution and questioning what the forefathers did because somebody now has done something that nobody's done over 200 years or even had to think about, then something wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Benjamin Franklin and all them sat there and wrote down and thought that Donald Trump in the year 2024 was going to send fake electors to Arizona and try to win the election. They just didn't take it like that, or they didn't foresee somebody actually doing something like that, because it would just be ridiculous to challenge the political system like that. But unfortunately, we have people out there that are doing that or are doing anything to win. Look, guys, what you got to understand about this is if you let somebody take power like that, you're going to have to take it away.
Yeah.
So what happens now is if this power gets taken and we can't do it politically, the next time we do it, we have to do it with a gun in our hands. Plain and simple. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Nobody relinquishes power once they take it.
Right.
Nobody does that. He's not going to say, oh, yeah, by the way, one person did. It was George Washington. That was it. George Washington was the only person that probably had all the army and everything behind him and could easily said, hey, you know what? I'm king. That's it.
But you know what?
You know what I mean?
To your point about George Washington and even about like our forefathers and what their intent was, they had no idea that we would become one day. They had 13 fucking colonies.
Yeah.
They had no idea it would be 50 states and then all the territories that we have. They had no idea that we would be the industrial power that we had, which led us to being the leader of the damn free world.
Yeah.
They had they're like, we got these 13 little motherfucking spots.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we do right in these 13 spots. We got Indians surrounding us.
Yeah, we just want King George off.
We just want King George to leave the fuck alone so we can carry on in these 13 little ass colonies. That's it. They had no idea what we would become. So whatever rules and things that they put in place back then, that shit does not carry weight today. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. And I mean, that kind of leads me to my last question. Speaking of, our power and elections and things like that, Trump's running. He's trying to run a good presidential campaign. Will he be able to manage that with all of these cases going on, and how, if you have any idea?
I honestly, I think the longer he's in court, the more damaging it causes. But if you look at polls and stuff, when people are asking him, would you still vote for Trump if he's found guilty of this, found guilty of that? And they're unwavered. So I don't know. In my eyes, yes, I would think it would be becoming more damaging. But when you talk to some of these, I don't know what they are, but they love some Trump. It's like he can do no wrong. It don't matter. It don't matter, So I don't know. I would think if we were talking about anybody else, yes, that he would have difficulty and not being in the limelight, not doing all his little rallies. But I don't know if he even needs to, just because they have unwavering support. I've never seen anything like that. Also, though, the only thing is your independent voters. Just like we say, who swings the election? Your independents. And it said that more than a third of independent voters would not vote for him if he's found guilty. Yeah. So that's where he's going to have to be like, okay. Because I will tell you this, the Trump voter, they ain't moving. The Trump voter is the Trump voter, period. Exclamation point. But the independents, I think, based upon how longer he's in court, what the courts find him, if he's guilty or not, I think that's where he'll get his damage, is them. But as far as the Trump supporter, no. And we all know the Democrats and liberals and everybody else is just already done with Trump. So I think it's going to be the independent voter that really makes that.
Damn Bill Barr dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up here. Man, talk bad about you. And I don't get he talks bad about you. He calls you out and you still go out and support him publicly. I don't get that. But maybe I just raised different. But yeah, you're talking about like the independent vote. That's going to determine the deal here when it comes to Trump and voting and everything. Yeah, I'm just throwing a little off key and just don't really kind of still understand what everything that's going on with them. Trump doesn't have to do rallies and everything because he dominates all the news feeds. It's almost like an evil genius. You know what I'm saying? As long as he stays in court, he's always going to be talked about. It's going to be, and that's basically what rallies and everything is for. And that's the scary part, that him being infamous keeps him in the game pretty much. And that's kind of where he is right now. He dominates all the news feeds, even on rival newscast, MSNBC or whatever, CNN, he's going to be on there. But he also has an unwavering, on conservative radio, it's Newsmax and everything. I mean, he's pretty much going to be on there all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, running up the base. So does it hurt him campaigning? I don't think so. I think he campaigns every day. You know what I'm saying? He, they still let him say, even with the gag orders they have on him, they still let him say what he wants to say. They're not going to lock him up in jail. They're not going to come up with anything. They're going to let him do whatever he wants to do. So he has the bully pulpit right now. It's Biden that's really struggling to kind of get his message out, about the economy, about anything, because all day long you
talk about Trump.
Talk about Trump. And he's making the election more of a personality race than policy and procedures. A couple of days ago, they were talking about him saying, like, you know what, I'll debate him any place, anytime. No, you won't, because you ain't got no policies.
No, he did say he's going to debate.
He's
and
not
I'm
gonna
waiting for
debate
that
him.
one.
He's
I don't
not
think
gonna
he will,
debate
but
him.
he said he would.
He's saying he will, but he's not.
You don't
On
think he
what
would? Why would
policy?
he? I don't know.
He got policies. Go to. I keep telling you this.
No,
Go to
I mean
his website,
he got policies, but I'm
He
just
ain't
saying.
never talking about it. All he talks about
But I
is
mean, even if he
himself. He's
sits
a
on,
narcissist.
even if he sits on immigration, he's gonna get ate alive on the fact that he downed the immigration bill. He went out. I mean,
Right.
he doesn't have any.
He can't talk his policies.
can't.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
put it to
not
you that way.
exactly.
'Cause he got policies, but he can't
exactly.
talk
He's
about
not
none
gonna
of
be
them.
able to talk toward them. And you
That's why he
can't
wrote
just say like he can do now. He can just say something on a blanket. Joe Biden's immigration, policy.
Right.
He can just say that on a blanket outside of a debate. But in a debate, you got to start talking and explaining that.
Right.
He's
He
not
can't
gonna.
do that.
He's not gonna do that. Now he'll
He
say.
can't.
He'll say that, hey man, I'll meet him anytime, any place, anywhere. Now, if Joe Biden rolled up on him for real,
He'd be like, never mind.
exactly. So he's not gonna do that.
Nope.
And nobody around him, just like he ain't gonna testify. Ain't nobody gonna let him just kill himself like that.
Sit down.
Like
So,
that and everything.
I would like to, and I'm gonna have to end the show after this, but one thing I just want to close on is I'm gonna go back and look at the debates from 2020 because they debated. So I want to go back and see how that went and what that looked
Hillary
like.
was
You know what I'm
killing
saying?
it, but
No, that's 2016.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2020. They debated in 2020. So I want to go check those out, man. But if you online, let us know. Check them out too and get back with us on our next show. I do want to close it out today. I want to just, thank everybody. Thank you guys out there on YouTube for chiming in and hitting us with your comments and questions. My girl Tina tried to tell me to get to these questions and I missed some. She already shaking her head like, you dumbass. I sure did, but I missed some good ones from Steve and from Leaving Mark. So I apologize. It was a whole subject ago. It was the one about school shootings. They had some good ass shit going on that motherfucker. But you know what? Let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
I'm gonna go ahead and you're right, Walanda. Damn it, I need to just go ahead and show some love to them real quick. So Steve said, first he said, you keep talking about Leroy Griffin. I'm telling him when you leave.
Yeah, see,
I'm telling him where you live.
Not
I'm telling him where you live.
Not me, Steve. I said nothing about this man. I don't
He's
even know
talking
him.
to you, Ace. He said you keep talking about Leroy Griffin. I'm telling you where you live. I'm telling him where you live. Steve also said one of the things that I worry about is they're saying that they're having mental health checks when they authorize this. What happens if somebody has a psychological breakdown later on?
Touche, because they only do it one time. I don't think they have multiple psychological tests.
Right.
You take one initially.
You can't keep monitoring a motherfucker.
Yeah,
and we
money.
do know that teachers have had
I love them, but
breakdowns.
they're
And what if they got a
humans.
gun on them when they have a breakdown? Who knows what the fuck they're gonna do? But
Please.
anyway.
Just be nice to me.
There'll be detention of paddle. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna put it right there on the desk.
So Steve also said, also police officers make mistakes and shoot people by accident all the time. Do we really want that to happen to one of our kids?
Right.
Leaving Mark says, I'm a gun owner, but I don't want a single gun in public school systems. Not at all.
There you go. And he's a gun owner.
Steve says, why not make laws to properly fortify the schools for safety? Why not make it mandatory for there to be more mental health counselors for intervention?
Money.
Yeah. It's easier to let you go buy your own gun and take some classes. Like she said, money. I mean, it's a big thing.
Sad.
Steve said, what I worry about is the fact that the first thing that we do to deal with some of these is get more guns. And we seem to be stuck on stupid with that.
NRA, baby.
Touche.
The devil's playground.
Leaving Mark said, needing police officers or guns in schools makes me believe that our system has failed our children.
Oh, that
I
think
agree.
about that. It's true. Why are they having to be there in the first place?
Yep. Steve said, I feel like maybe, he said, maybe a baby. I don't know why he said that. I feel like maybe if they went to the police academy and they wanted to teach, it would be okay for them to have a gun. But I still am not sold on that idea, though. That was it. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, Leaving Marks. Appreciate all of you guys for jumping online, leaving us your comments, and hanging out with us for another Saturday. And we will see you guys next week.